Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is TURI and I am a registered behavior technician in the state of Florida. Today I will be answering the questions that you guys have asked me on my Instagram story. If you do not follow me on Instagram, you can go ahead and do so. It's at behavior_works. Before we get started, please be sure to give me a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe. It reinforces my behavior to create more videos for you guys. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Okay, the first question I have is from Deslane Santana. I think that's how you pronounce her name. It says, do you always get your 40 hours per week? Very good question. No, definitely not. So there are a lot of different variables that can get in the way of me getting the 40 hours a week. In general, you can make sure you have a client, or clients I should say, that can get you there. So how it works is that each client is given a different set of hours that the RBT is able to work with them. So one client may have 25 hours that the insurance approves, or another client may have 20 or 15 hours that insurance approves. So just depending on the clients that you have, the behaviors that they have, and all of that, you will get your hours. So for example, if I, let's say, work with my boy client in the morning, I have 5 hours with him every single day. That's 25 hours I get a week with him. Now, let's say that I am sick one day and I don't go to work. Well, that means I only work 20 hours. But those hours can be made up later on. So if I work out with the parents, can I come on a Saturday? Because I am a therapist that works out of a home, and they say, yeah, sure, come over, we're not doing anything, then I can make those hours up. But there are other factors, of course, too. The client can cancel and I would lose out on those hours. But again, you can always try talking to the parents and seeing if you can make up those hours. So yeah, that's that. Okay, next question I have is from Emmy.Aves. It says, which one do you prefer to say, autistic kid or a person with autism? This is a very controversial topic. It just depends. You could definitely offend someone if you do say autistic, or even offend them if you don't say that they're autistic. It's just, there's no winning here. You just kind of have to, I think as a community, we have to be understanding that everyone has been taught differently, and that if you are really hesitant on what to say, you can always ask, ask the family, or even just listen to the family and how they address their child, how the child addresses themselves. At the end of the day, we love them. Like, we love them, right? We're there to help them and work with them. And I don't care if you want to call it autism, or if they're autistic, or they have a learning disability. At the end of the day, I don't even care about the label. I'm just there because I'm a therapist and I love to work with children, and I want to better their lives. I don't know if I even helped answering the question, but it is just up to the family and up to the person. What advice would I give to new RBTs? What advice would I give to new RBTs? That is a good question. Let's see. What I would have, liked to be told before I started would be that there will be a lot of hard days. Obviously, I knew that, but you don't really understand how hard until you are doing this job. And what's most frustrating is thinking that you're not making a difference and that what you are doing isn't working. And that, I'm not saying that couldn't be the case, because maybe you are making a mistake, but if you are, really going at it every day and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing and you're talking to your analyst and it's still not working, just hang in there a little bit more, because you will find yourself in tears because you just feel like you're not doing anything, and it's not you. It just takes some kiddos longer, and every kiddo is different. And if you keep pushing, I promise you, you are going to see it. And once you get over that little hump, you're going to see your work one day. You're gonna wake up and be like, oh my gosh, like, is this the same child? There are going to be really tough days, but you will reap the reward of all of those tough days. It's coming. Don't worry. Study tips for the RBT exam. Sure, so the most important thing for you guys to focus on is your 40-hour training. Your 40-hour training is the base of the exam. This is everything that's going to be in the exam or can be on the exam, you're going to see in your 40-hour training. So pay attention. Do not lay back and relax and think it's no big deal. No, make sure you pay attention, you understand. Do some vocabulary review. Take mock exams. Little self-promo here. I do at ABA Source, my company. We have a mock exam set up just like the actual RBT exam. It's time. You have an hour and a half to get it done, guys. The timing for the RBT exam, you know, it's the toughest, I think, aspect of the exam, actually, if you can believe that, because on one side you have studied, but you're still maybe a little bit hesitant because obviously it's an exam. You're like, I want to get it perfect, so you want to read through everything like 10 times, but the time, you only have an hour and a half, so the timing is everything. So if you can take a mock exam, I highly recommend you do that so that you can mentally prepare yourself for the amount of time that you have and the questions that you can see on the exam. So if you're looking for a mock exam, go ahead and go to abasource.com and go to the training page, and I do have a mock exam there for you. Okay, this is a good one. Do companies allow you to choose the age range of the clients you'd like to work with? I like to think so. Companies that I have worked with, it's, you know, they do tell you a little bit about the client and if you're willing to take them on. If you are uncomfortable with a older client or with a client that's too young, you can definitely express it and say something and say maybe you would prefer, you might have to wait a little bit to get one, you know. So it just depends. If you need a job right now, you might need to just take that client. If you are okay to wait a little bit until they can find you a client, you know, whatever age range you want, then you'd have to wait. But if I could say so, I'd like to tell you guys, you know, make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. If you're concerned about going with kiddos that are too small, try it out. You know, you don't be always just comfortable. We don't learn where we're comfortable. Even if you don't feel ready for it, you will be. And you just have, it's just practice. It's just practice and getting to know, you know, new behaviors and new clients and new families. This is what prepares you to become a BCBA, guys. So don't take it easy on yourself, because if you're planning to become a BCBA, you have to write behavior plans one day. And there is no better way to know how to do that than to see all kinds of behaviors. So push yourselves. I encourage you to. After my first client was an easy one. Thank God for me, you know. I got lucky with that one. But after my first client, I was approached by my BCBA and she's like, okay, I have another client, another case for you. It's very hard. Do you want it? Guys, I said yes immediately. I'm like, yes, it's very hard, it's a challenging case, awesome, I'll take it. They're like, are you sure? It's hard. Because they want to make sure I'm all in, because you don't want to, you know, abandon the client 2 weeks later either. That's not fair. So she wanted to make sure I was all in. And I was all in, guys. Was it challenging for the first few months? Absolutely. It was not easy. Has he improved so much since then? Yes. You guys have seen his little hands, his little tiny hands on my vlogs. That's him. So, did I make a difference? Yes. Did I learn? So much. And it was all just because I went out of my comfort zone. So don't be stuck in yours. Okay, how different is the RBT exam from the BCBA exam? Very different. The BCBA exam is much more difficult, does not have a great passing rate for the first time. I would like to say that they're night and day. You know, the RBT exam is for the entry-level position of an RBT, and it's very black and white. I like to say the RBT exam is very black and white. It's not there to trick you or to throw you off. They just want to make sure that you understand the, you know, foundation of what ABA is, what your job is, you know, highlighting all those things. But the BCBA exam, I haven't taken it, obviously, but it is, I've heard that it's very difficult and you need months and months of studying, and you need a master's degree, and you need to go through the coursework. So yeah, Not easy, if that answers your question. What happens when a client cancels on you as an RBT? Does it affect your income? I did go over this a little bit already, but yes, it affects your income. You can lose those hours. It's just kind of part of the job. If it is a problem, I would bring it up to my analyst. You know, do they want to have services? Because I think sometimes, for some reason, parents might not go through the motions and be like, hey, maybe if I keep canceling, this person isn't getting paid. You know, they don't always think like that. So if it becomes a problem, bring it up to your analyst, have them have a conversation and see if they still want therapy. But yeah, cancellations happen. Just how you get sick from work, you know, parents also have some things to do. I'm very lucky. The parents I've worked with, I've never had a big cancellation problem, but I have heard of RBTs that do have this issue, and if it's an issue for you, try to get it resolved, because we do have to make a living at the end of the day. Right? What do you feel is the most difficult part about being a BCBA? Well, I'm not a BCBA, but I do have one, and the workload is a lot. I'm gonna just put it out there that they work very, very hard. They have to both see the client, just how we visit clients. They don't have as many hours, obviously. They might have 2 hours a week or something with their clients, but they are also in charge of the programming and the, you know, writing the behavior plans and getting those out to insurance companies on time. I mean, it is a lot of work. So that being said, if you are afraid of writing, you know, because you're going to be writing reports, that's a huge part of the job, then being a BCBA might not be for you. How do you stay balanced with work and life? That's a good question. I don't know. Well, this is, I think, hard whether you're an RBT or you're anybody. You know, this is always an interesting topic and something that we need to, you know, think about ourselves, because I personally like to work. I do work a lot. And whether it's, you know, here on YouTube or doing things for ABA Source or, you know, with my client, I like to work a lot, and sometimes you kind of forget. You're like, okay, I need a breather, I should relax. So just being self-aware, I think, is always very important. And when you feel that it's time to take a breath and to stop working for a second, go ahead and do that, and do whatever it is that you like. If it's watching Netflix, boyfriend, or with your dog, like me and Linda, go do that. If you want to go out and have a beer, go do that. The next question is, how detailed are your session notes in the Excel field tracker? Yeah, they're pretty detailed, especially for the ones that I use for my indirect hours. So whenever I would write like a report or something on vocabulary, or like anything that I did out of the Hooper book, I would write the chapter, the pages I read, you know, the title, the author, pages I read, how long it took me, if I wrote my own paper, what did I learn? I mean, I went into like a lot of detail. I could probably make a video on that in the future and try to show you guys how I did it, but yes, very detailed. How to get indirect hours? That's a good one. Well, to get indirect hours, you can go about this a couple ways. You can either ask your own analyst if they have some work that they could give you that would count for indirect hours that they can sign off on your tracker. Or you could, if your analyst is too busy, which is a possibility, you can always hire another analyst that might have more free time and is willing to do that for you. Your notes are indirect hours. Any kind of readings that you do that are behavior analytic in nature, or journals that you read and write reports on, these are all things that can count as indirect hours. The thing is, you need to have a analyst that is there to vouch for you that you indeed did do these things and they've checked it and all of that. So finding things to get indirect hours for is not difficult. Just to have an analyst vouch for you is probably the harder part, but still not that big a deal, guys. Well, for right now, that is all I have. I will answer more questions in the future. Thank you guys for all the love and support I get with this channel and with ABA Source, my new business. I'm so happy that we're all so excited for it, and this field is becoming a better place with all of you in it. I'll see you next time. Bye!
blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.